We're here with Mason Miranda. He is a credit industry specialist with creditcardinsider.com. Good morning, Mason.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me, Rick.
You're very welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's a great morning. How about for you?
Uh, I can't complain. I live in Italy. It's Friday afternoon. This is it's almost quitting time, so I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool. So tell me, what does a credit industry specialist do? What do you do for creditcardinsider.com?
So essentially, we're a consumer advocate group, right? What we do is we help people learn more about debt, how to manage it, how to properly use credit cards to their advantage, how to use credit cards to get out of debt, and how to responsibly use credit cards just generally.
Responsibly use credit cards. That I think it is a tough. There's a disconnect between folks I think it's hard for some folks to understand how to properly use a credit card because so many people either for example myself growing up, I didn't realize that. I remember when I was 18 years old, I got a card with $5,000 limit on it. I was like, whoa, great. I get to spend it all.
Free money.
Yeah, it was like, pay it back. What? And then the bill comes, the minimum payment was like, $50 or something. It's like, oh yeah, whatever, no problem.
Right.
So that is a really good point. And so you guys offer a resource for folks to better understand how to use a credit card.
Right. And to be honest with you, a lot of people, our age, especially younger generations, just simply don't have a great understanding of how to properly manage their debt or use credit cards, right? Credit cards can be a great thing, but oftentimes, even like just to give you an example, when I was younger, I was constantly told credit cards are bad. Get away from credit cards, avoid them, never use them. They avoid them like the plague, right? And to be quite honest with you, I mean, it's simply not true that they're that bad. All they are, I mean, they're a tool to build your financial wellness, right? And as long as the tool is used properly, it can be great. Obviously, when used improperly, just like anything else, it can severely hurt your financial future. But used properly, it can really help.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I see, when I'm thinking of debt, I'm always thinking of the interest rate. So for me, I write about good debt versus bad debt, and for me, my test for good debt is two things. Is number one is the interest rate, and number two, it's whether or not I can sell the item to fully pay off the debt. So for instance, if I have a mortgage, right? We have a mortgage, we buy a house. Well, my question is my test is, can I pay the mortgage if I sold the home? And if the answer is yes, it's good debt. But if I use a credit card to buy a case of beer and I have consumed the case of beer, well, and I'm carrying a balance and paying interest.
Right. Not that great.
Not that great of an idea, but this is a concept that was never taught to me.
Well, and that's honestly, like I mentioned before, these concepts, unfortunately, they're not taught very often just because either they're overlooked or many people just don't know them, right? And like you had said previously, your original idea of a credit card was, great, I have $5,000, let's go, kind of thing. You know what I mean? And it can be very costly, unfortunately.
I found out, but yes. Today it's a completely different story. Completely different story.
That's awesome. Well, and I guess a good point to address there as well is that, interest in total, you'll always want to try to avoid interest, right? Really, interest never really helps a consumer, in all honesty, right? Because it's just more money that you have to pay. But sometimes it can be necessary for, like if you have to take out a mortgage, right? Like you had said, or a personal loan, heaven forbid, for something, and you have to do it, right? Now, for the side of credit cards, interest doesn't need to be a thing for you, right? As long as you're paying off your full balance each month, each billing cycle, the APR, the interest rate, just doesn't matter. I mean, you can throw it out the window as long as you are paying off that full balance each billing cycle.
Right.
So,
I mean, and that is incredibly good advice. And even today, I have my credit card and my checking account all in the same application. And so actually, I pay my credit card off 2 to 3 times a week, but not because it's just, because I'm watching my balances, I'm seeing where everything is. And if I see, $100 or $200 on my credit card, I mean, I just move the money over.
right.
It takes no time at all to do that.
Well, and I guess a good point to make there as well, Rick, is that it's great because now not only have banks made it very easy for you to be able to go on to, the app or just go onto their website, log in and say, hey, I want to pay this off 2, 3, 4 daily if you want. But they also have options for automatic payments, right? So you can just schedule a payment every week. Not all, but many you can just schedule a payment and say, pay off my full statement balance every, Friday after I get paid, and you don't even have to worry about it, right? And so they just make it so much easier for you to be able to stay on top of your credit card and the payments that you need to be making.
Yeah, that's a great point. And with that, I've heard of balance transfer cards. I mean, can you tell me a little bit about now I'm a Canadian, I do a lot of research, but tell me about the best balance transfer cards. Like, how can people best use them? And what are they there for? Because you need a balance, you need to transfer it from somewhere. So how does somebody take advantage of that?
Yeah. So the first thing I want to make sure to say is that balance transfer cards work best for people that are carrying a monthly credit card balance on a different credit card, right? And the reason being is because the credit card balance that you're currently carrying usually has a very, like we talked about earlier, a pretty high interest rate, right? And it can range anywhere between 20 and sometimes even 30%, right, on whatever balance that you're carrying. And so the purpose of a balance transfer card is to allow you to transfer that balance that has a very high interest rate accruing over to a lower interest rate card that can oftentimes come with other perks. And sometimes those perks will be, 0% interest rate APR for 6 months to a year, or sometimes longer even, or they can be a no fee balance transfer card. And I should probably also mention as well that many of these balance transfer cards do come with fees. They'll usually be no more than 5%. It's anywhere between 2 and 5% of the balance.
So the interest rate is 0, but then there'll be a fee.
There will be some kind of fee.
So they get you no matter what.
So unfortunately,
yes.
But, right. But again, the good thing about it though is that yes, they may get you with that 2 to 5% fee, but my goodness, that is a lot better than the 20 to 30% interest that you're paying on the other card, right?
Definitely.
And so that can be the very helpful part of a credit card, of getting you out of debt from another card. Does that make sense?
That is incredibly good advice. So for those who are using a balance transfer, so they have that period, and away they go. That's it. They pay for they pay the entire balance within a specific period of time. And,
well, and I guess I should mention as well that not every single balance transfer card is the same, right? I mean, depending on your credit, on the credit issuer that you get it from, they'll have different offers at different times, different perks at different times, and it doesn't always have to be that you get a perk right when you sign up. Heaven forbid you already have a balance transfer card, and maybe you can reach out to your lender and say, hey, just curious, are you having any offers right now if I were to transfer my balance that I already have your card? Can I get a 0%? I don't know, something like that. You can always contact your issuer to see if they can give you a different offer. But the point is, the reason for transferring the credit card balance to a balance transfer card is to pay it off faster and with a lower interest rate, which will save you money.
Right. That is great advice. Now, we hear a lot about cards with different perks, like travel, who's traveling right now, but travel, cash back. What is the best? I mean, what should somebody think about when getting a points card?
Well, really, you should think the big thing you should think about and focus on are your shopping habits, right? Always think, how do I shop? What do I spend money on a daily basis, right? So let me give you an example. My wife and I, we spend money. We don't really stick with one grocery store, right? We'll look for great deals and whoever's giving the best, I don't know, deals or savings this week whenever we go grocery shopping, we'll probably go there, right? And so because we don't stick with a specific retailer, a specific grocer, a credit card that gives us more generalized perks across the board helps us more than getting a credit card with a specific grocer. And just as an example, you know, if I were to shop at Target all the time, right? If I do my grocery shopping there, all of my essential, anything, any shopping I go to Target for, it might be a good idea to at least consider the Target Red Card, because to my understanding, they give you 5% cash back on any shopping that you do there. But if you're going to be shopping other places, it might be better for you to look at a card that will give you perks anywhere you go or on other categories instead of just Target. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. For me, my favorite perk on my credit card is I have a no foreign exchange fee. And, you know, from that point of view, it works out really well because, I mean, as I said earlier, I'm a Canadian living in Italy. And so all of my transactions on my credit card would normally have a foreign exchange fee. But in this case, it doesn't. So for me, that is a really big deal.
Well, and it can be helpful just in saving you a lot of money over the course of you spending money normally. You know what I mean?
I guess insurance is another thing to be thinking about as well. You know, the typical insurance, like, you know, travel insurance and medical and these sorts of things. Do you know any credit cards that have a good collection of these, or a good all-in-one sort of, you know, something that balances, you know, your insurance and your perks and so on all together in one card?
Yeah. So it's rare to find a card that will literally have everything, right? Just because, you know, looking at it from the credit card issuer side, I mean, that's a lot to be able to offer a consumer, right? And so if you the ones that will get you the most perks will often come with an annual fee. Now, you know, a lot of times people say, okay, no, just avoid the annual fee. Don't have anything to do with an annual fee. But if the amount of spending that you do will offset that annual fee that you have, absolutely getting a credit card with an annual fee is totally fine, because it'll earn you so many rewards, plus get you that travel insurance, rental car insurance, sometimes medical, sometimes all of these different things, even purchase protection, right? I mean, it's the important thing for you to do is just to do your research and look at everything. And as we talked about before, you don't want to just look when you're looking at a credit card on, you know, the amount of, if you're looking for a travel card, for example, the amount of points that you're going to get when you initially sign up. Right. You want to look at, okay, what insurances am I going to get? If I'm traveling, you know, every week or every month or whatever, I'm probably going to want travel insurance that covers my luggage and my car, renting a car and things like that. And so it's really make sure to do your research as you're going through for those different perks that they offer.
That's great advice. So Mason, what's in your wallet? I mean, taken from the old Capital One commercial, what do you use every day?
Yep. So the first one, the biggest one that my wife and I use, and that's probably our personal favorite, again, just because of our shopping habits, right, and the way that we shop. But we use the Citi Double Cash, the Citi Double Cash card. Now, the reason why we like it so much is because you get 2% on everything. Right. I mean, whether I go to the movies or I go to a Walmart or I go to buy tickets for, you know, I guess
it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
But yeah, it's a no-brainer because you get 2% on everything. But we also keep in our wallet, we use the Amex Blue Cash Everyday card from American Express. Now that one we like specifically for grocery shopping, because I mean, neither of the cards that we have annual fees and we like that. But the other reason is because for our grocery shopping in particular, we get 3% back with that Amex card, we get 3% back at almost any grocery store that we go to.
Oh, wow.
And so that 3% is much better than the 2% from the Double Cash rewards. And so we'll use that specifically for grocery shopping, and then the Citi card for practically everywhere else that we shop.
That makes perfect sense. So how many credit cards is too many? I mean, you've got 2. I mean, I've said 100 too many. Like, how many is too many?
Yeah. So honestly, I don't want to put a limit on it, and we don't give any suggestions on specific number, just because, again, it really can vary for every person and how they shop and how much savings they want to do. Granted, the more credit cards that you have, the more that you'll have to keep track of with transactions and paying off and everything. And so that's something to consider. But the main thing you'll want to be careful of when getting a lot of credit cards is the amount of time that you give in between applying for one credit card and another. Yeah. Our suggestion is to wait anywhere between 4 and 6 months to apply for different credit cards, only because that can ding your credit scores, right, and it can hurt your credit history in essence, just because you're applying for too many credit cards in a small amount of time. But as long as you wait that time, you should be totally fine to get as many credit cards as you feel is necessary.
Makes perfect sense. And can our viewers go to creditcardinsider.com and learn more about what all of the features that each credit card has?
Yeah, so we actually provide reviews on as many credit cards as we can so far. We're obviously always adding them, right? Because there are different credit cards that come out almost monthly. But we'll give you a good review, a breakdown of what's offered, what it can get you, some of the pros and cons. And then you can also click through if you wanted to, and any of them interest you, you can apply through our site as well.
Great. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you today that you wanted to add to this?
No, I don't think so. Just as long as, all of your viewers make sure that they understand, credit cards really they can be a great asset to you. It's just finding the right one that will work for your specific situation.
Yeah, I would say use it like a fancy debit card.
Exactly.
Take advantage of it and use it like a fancy debit card, and don't pay any interest.
Yes, amen to that. Yep.
Mason, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining us here today. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having me, Rick.
All right. Enjoy your afternoon.
You too.
Bye now.